I'm Mwanza fashion designer.
I am Javonka Williams, your Guyanese Queen of Pop.
My name is Hashim Ali. I'm a creative director here in Guyana.
Hey guys, this is Omaya Hall.
My name is Remar. I'm a rapper, singer, songwriter, and I am on the showroom right now with Orlando.
All right, welcome back to another episode of The Showroom with yours truly. My name is Orlando, and on today's episode, I have an amazing rapper, singer, director, overall great musician, and his name is Remar. Remar,
Yes,
thank you
sir.
for being in the showroom,
Hey,
man.
thank you for having me, brother. Thank you for having me.
Definitely, it's a pleasure, man.
And by the way, before we go any further,
Yeah.
this, I like it.
Oh, the wine?
I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's really
I
good
like
stuff.
it a lot.
Yeah.
I've never seen the brand before
Yeah.
until today, but this is legit. I
Yeah,
can
it's
get with this.
it's called Forge Street. It's from DDL Wine and Spirits. Yeah, I picked it up like a month and a half ago, and I've been
Okay.
using it for the showroom. And
I gotta check this out.
all the guests that came on actually like it a lot. I love it. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, the
It's
sweet red. Yeah, it's really good. So Ramar, how was early life growing up in Georgetown, and what were some of the hobbies that you were into?
Right. Yeah. So I am a full tongue man. Spent my formative years, most of my just years of being alive, Sixth Street Alberton.
Yeah.
Born and raised. And so even I feel like being on the slightest of what you would consider the outskirts of Georgetown.
Yeah.
Spending even just like a little bit time there, I feel like completely out of place because I spent my most, again, like formative years in such a central location of Georgetown, which is Alberton. Alberton is like close to everything.
It's very central.
Right? Yeah. So St. Gabriel's Nursery, then Winfrey Gardens Primary, St. Agnes Primary,
Yep.
and then secondary schooling at QC. And for me growing up, it was just cricket, and more cricket.
More cricket.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I breathe, ate, sleep, dreamt cricket. You know what I mean? In those years. And growing up as an only child for the first 11 years of my life, like I think this is something that helped like to really foster my imagination because I would play cricket by myself, bowl to the wall,
Oh, and then hit it.
commentate myself, run, be the fielder. I was everything. And so looking back,
Yeah.
that really helped in like stretching and forming my imagination in really early years of my life.
And in terms of cricket, what did you play when you got like I would say teenager? Were you
Right.
bowling, batting, or
Yeah.
rounder?
Yeah, I was an all rounder. So it's like about 8 or 9. I started Maltinos, and then from like about 12 or 13, I played at DCC because again, being from Alberton,
You
that was
played-
just like right there
Yeah,
in
right
Queenstown.
around.
So
yeah. And what about high school? Did you make the high school team?
Yeah, I did. But I feel like this is always like something like I laugh about, but like also something that like I look back with sort of regret on because around that time, and I feel like coming up in QC, it was a sort of like academics or die
Yeah.
sort of mentality.
Yeah.
Right. So as soon as it started getting like close to the years for CXC, already playing cricket like for hours and thinking and cricket being a priority,
Yeah.
that died down and the books took priority,
Mom and dad just push the books.
Yeah,
more.
my mom, my mother, because you know Caribbean parents, right? They lawyer, doctor, engineer, or failure.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of variety in the career choices that they consider a success.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So when did you decide that you wanted to, or not decide? When were you able to figure out that I want to rap?
Right. So music, it really came in stages and portions of my life.
Yeah.
So I remember the very first, my very first feel with anything in the creative fields was at Winfrey Gardens Primary.
Okay.
Because I remember there was they always have the Mashramani competitions.
Correct. Yes.
So there was a dramatic poetry competition, and I think I must have been in like Prep B or something. Well, everybody's got like grade 2 now.
Yeah.
But and I was selected to participate to recite the poem for Winford Gardens.
Okay.
Right, to go up that year. So that was like my first taste of like performing
yeah.
and anything creative. And then at age 9, I remember vividly, I don't know what, but I stripped Eminem's lyrics from cleaning out my closet.
Yeah.
Put in my lyrics to reflect the fact that I didn't know my father. Don't ask where this inspiration came from at that young age.
Okay.
But that was my very first experience with writing anything. But of course, I'm about to sound so old.
No,
'Cause
go
I'm about
ahead.
to say back then. But back then,
Yeah.
with the internet not being, not having the boom that it has right now.
Yeah.
Because right now, with the internet, the world kind of seems flat, right? In
Yes.
that I don't feel as distant from a music exec in New York or something. Like, I could upload a song right now in my bedroom, and that song could get to him in a matter of hours, and then in a couple of days, I could be on a flight to New York to have a meeting with him based on the impact of that song.
That is true.
Back then, the barriers of entry to
Yeah.
music were a lot higher.
Yeah.
So, being from Guyana, I didn't really consider it a realistic option
To
I was
make
like,
it-
yeah,
to
I'm
make
gonna
it in
keep
rap.
on writing songs
Yeah.
and whatever, right? So that was and I remember I rapped it to my mother, and I said, I can say some cuss words, right? But don't get vexed.
What was her reaction when she heard it?
Bro, again, like I think Caribbean parents, because I speak for grew up in
Yeah,
a
we're
Caribbean
Caribbean.
household, they don't really take like the arts and creative stuff and whatnot very seriously. Like we're going to be the generation of parents to really change that dynamic. But back then, it's like, yo, move from SMU. Whether that's just go pick up a book, I hope
Yeah.
you know your books, like how you know the sound when you rap it to me,
Yeah.
was probably the response.
Do you
So-
remember what age you were at that time when you sang the
was-
rap for her?
I was about 9.
Okay, so you were at primary school.
Yeah, still in primary
Still
school.
in primary school.
And then I just put it away because maybe like 2 years after there was common entrance. So again, the whole academics thing kicked in.
Yeah.
Right? And then I remember probably being like about 13, 14. And it was sort of like, music is sort of like, you know, like if you know a trick,
Yeah.
a magic trick, I say, hey, I can show you a trick. Look what I could do.
Mm.
Right? They do
Yeah,
this
yeah.
thing. So for me, rapping was like, they're like, yo, yeah, I could rap, you know. Like I could do music. People
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like, no. And then I would prove like, yeah, I write stuff to show.
Yeah.
So it started as that then in secondary school, more of like a show off thing, like, yo, let me show you like this trick that I could do.
Yeah.
But then I remember when the college dropout dropped and
Kanye. Yep.
right? The old Kanye.
The old Kanye. The Kanye that we love.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And I remember feeling that this is an artist, this is a rapper that I can relate to.
Yeah.
Because before that, before the college dropout, rap music was a lot about I have this much money, I have this much cars, I kill this many people.
True.
So like it was like things I couldn't really relate to.
Yeah.
But then Kanye came like talking about being broke and I can't afford this
Yeah.
and I hope my mom isn't like upset with me for this. And it's like he started with like a lot of the narratives in music that seemed more relatable.
Very relatable.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I could get with this. Like I can contribute something
Yeah.
to rap / hip hop if there's room for this sort of narrative.
Yes, I got
right.
you.
And so I started to take it seriously then.
Yeah.
Like, all right. And I remember that I would go to Giftland. This is not the Giftland.
That's the
this
one in-
Giftland Office Max.
Office
this is
Max, yeah.
OG Giftland.
That was on Water Street.
Correct. And
Yeah.
I would buy 5,000 CDs, and
Yeah.
within that set, I would buy instrumental CDs and put it on my tape deck, and I would just write and write and write and write and write and write.
And right over
And
it.
every single opportunity I started to find from then to let everybody hear me,
Yeah.
I would like just take that opportunity, right? So I was on like they would have like these little talent shows because remember call-in programs was big back
Was
then.
big back then,
right?
yeah.
Call-in talent programs, call, rap. Oh, this expo, go there, rap.
Yeah.
And shout out to Cody from
Rough
Rough
Cut.
Cuts.
Yeah, Rough Cut
Right.
Cody, yeah.
I'd never forget. Again, a call-in program had advertised the studio on Sheriff Street platinum songs. This
Platinum
was Fojo.
songs. Yeah, I know. I remember Fojo.
Right. So
Way back.
yo, bro, don't age us.
Yeah,
please.
this is way back. This is way back stuff
But
right here.
I skipped school the day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll go to the studio to meet them. I didn't rationalize and think at the time that musicians is kind of work like the opposite way of the clock. So
Yeah.
they don't work 9 to 5 hours.
No.
Right? So me going there as a school child at 10 o'clock, Fojo and them man probably
not-
taking a second turn because they probably left the studio at whatever time in the
Yeah,
morning.
in the morning. Yeah, true.
So the studio was locked. It wasn't even open.
Mm.
But I saw Cody there. And I said, Cody, I say, you know, the people was running inside here. And he was telling me that they lock and whatever. And I was telling him, oh, well, I'm here because I wanted to rap to them or whatever and whatever. I ended up rapping to him.
yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it sounds good, man. So he's like, I got some sweets I could carry and show you. But I ain't got time right now. I gotta go and carry somebody to the airport. And again, I remember this very vividly. It was, I think Sesame Street had brought like a stage show, like a tour, and they stopped in Guyana here.
Okay.
And he was going to take the promoter back to the airport.
Oh, gotcha.
Me and my crazy, naive / hungry mind
Yeah.
said, I'd go with you. I'd go with you to the airport, and then when we come on back, you can take me to the studios. He's
Yeah.
like, if you want to do that,
Let's go.
let me go, right?
Yeah.
And I did it, man. And then we coming on back. When we came on back, by then, Platinum Studios was open.
Yep.
And he also took me to Brutal Tracks.
Brutal
that
Tracks.
was in Waterloo Street.
Are they still around? I remember Brutal
Nah, bro,
Tracks.
I think Brutal Tracks still is around.
Oh, wow, that's years ago,
And
man.
I was just there, and I had the opportunity to rap for them
Yeah.
and for people to hear this talent that I thought was like amazing and out of this world. I have to refer to what I said earlier, my opportunity to just show people, hey, look at my magic trick.
Yeah.
And that started like a hunger and a thirst, like I want to keep getting better.
What was their reaction when they heard you rap that first time?
Well, I think rap back then was quite a novelty.
Yeah.
Like in the Guyanese culture.
It is, it
right?
is.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's more, back then was more firstborn and the type of thing.
Yeah.
So I guess because of the novelty aspect of it, there's
Yeah.
like, the man song good.
They might sound
But it
decent.
wasn't like blown away. I think Brutal Tracks is like, yo, must come back this day and we can look at something. And then Fojo's like, yo, come back this day. But nothing ever really materialized from like those initial visits
Okay.
that I would have had with Cody. But shout out to Cody.
Yeah.
Because you took the time out and you invested in a great thing. And I will always remember you as an instrumental part of my story.
Yeah, big shout out to Cody, yo.
Yes,
He did a
sir.
good thing. Now, do you remember one of your first serious raps that you wrote down? Do you remember any bars from it that you can rap right now, or just like say a couple lines
Oh,
from?
jeez. No, I remember the content,
Yeah,
but I can't remember like the exact bars.
yeah, you can't remember. Okay,
Yeah, but I remember. And again, you know, like I think people always say childlike creativity or childlike imagination.
yeah,
And it's such a real thing because the untainted mind of a child is really a true reflection of how far our creative minds can really like bend to.
right.
Because I remember 13, 14, I looked at this documentary that was based on the Jonestown Massacre.
Yeah,
And I wrote a song from the first person perspective of a child that was there in the Jonestown camp.
in the Jones Song Camp,
And
gotcha.
like seeing like the killing and like, okay, I'm about to drink the Kool-Aid now and like I'll never see this and I'll
Oh,
never
wow.
see. I'm like thinking back on the now, I was like, yo, that was crazy. But
Yeah.
if you want to talk about like one of my first serious ones,
Yeah.
because again, even to my 13, 14-year-old self, like I guess like I started to realize like, yeah, I'm good. Like I could do this because like
At 13,
look,
14?
yeah, like look at what you just put together. You know what I mean? Like that's not like on the surface. It's not like a little jokey thing no more.
Yeah, it's
that you're
serious.
just doing. Like this is like a concept and a rhyme scheme and structure and everything to the
Yeah.
song. Of course, I probably wasn't able to label it like I am right now and
Correct.
to verbalize what it is. But in retrospect, Yeah, that's like probably one of the like pivotal moments, I guess.
Yeah.
Like to myself where I started to realize like I can really do it.
Like 13, 14?
Yeah, 13, 14, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Where were you writing at that point? Would you just write at home or you would go somewhere and do it?
No, I was writing in school. Funny
Right.
story is, and if any QC people look at this interview, they'll remember it. I left because I had like these like loose leaves, the paper,
Yeah.
filing paper.
Yeah, I got you.
And I was writing. Then they had like the desk with like the little space under the compartment. You just
Where you
put
could-
stuff,
where you
right?
could put the stuff,
so I
yeah.
put all my raps. I used to have it in like this brown envelope.
Okay.
And I put it under there. And I left class and went somewhere because you're a little while by.
Yeah.
You remember for pick up all stuff. Let me make sure everything is with me before I leave.
Yeah.
And this maths teacher found my file with my raps. She was like, "What's this here?"
She found all the raps.
And she started to read, bro,
Out in class?
out loud.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? So let me read it out to everybody so I can give you context
Yeah.
of what's on this paper so maybe you will understand and know whose it is. Yo, that was so hilarious. So anyways, I just started to say I would write in school, I would write at home, I would write anywhere.
Anywhere.
I would write anywhere because again, it was just like you started to realize that you have this gift for the first time.
Yes.
And it's like you discover like it's a superpower that you have.
Yeah.
So it's like every opportunity now you wanna use it and you trying it in this way and see what's the impact if I use it in this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
Okay. When did you go to the studio to record your first song? Like first serious song, of course.
Brutal tracks.
Brutal Tracks.
15 years old.
15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you finance that whole process?
Oh, fine. No, well, I remember it was $4,000 an hour.
Oh,
To record that.
Okay, that's cheap.
No, but not cheap to 15-year-old me.
Mm-mm.
Right?
No, not cheap. Yeah.
Nah, there's $4,000. That was like
That's a lot of money.
like a week lunch.
Yeah, back then. Because the last episode I had Umaya Hall on, and you know her soca singer.
Yeah.
Right? And we were talking about how you can finance a track and getting a song from producing to getting it out the door. And she basically was saying it would cost roughly like around $300,000 to $500,000 for everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somebody has to write the
Easy.
song, yeah. So it's
Easy.
not, yeah.
Easy. Music is expensive.
Yeah, but back then you were
But
15.
back then, yeah, I wasn't really like looking at it like, yo, I need this packaged and whatever.
Yeah.
Again, this was me now starting to realize that I have this gift. Let me get my idea out.
Correct. And what's the name of that song that you did? Oh, you can't remember none of these songs?
No. Like, nah, I can't remember this. But I remember it was like a girl tune.
Oh, it's a girl song?
It was like a girl tune, and I got the instrumental from again a CD from Gifla and Office Max, and the instrumental was Rodeo by Juvenile. That
Oh,
was the instrumental.
Rodeo by
that
Juvenile.
that I rapped on.
Okay.
It was $4,000 an hour. So in my mind, so all the days leading up to the recording session, I was practicing.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, when I go to the studio, I can't do a bunch of takes.
Yeah, you can't do a
because I
bunch
got
of takes.
maximized on the 1 hour
On
that
that
I got.
and that
So if
four-
I could knock the vocals out
Yeah.
in 15 minutes, then the engineer could
Do
spend
it.
the next 4 to 5 minutes
Yeah.
like mixing and mastering, because then mixing and mastering costs weren't separate. You paid like a flat fee.
Oh, so it's one flat free.
It was a flat fee to go into the studio and whatever
Ah.
you do in this, and then too, I think it was like they kind of give me like a love price as well too. So they wasn't like charging me like, yo, it's
Gotcha.
so I was like, yo, I gotta knock this thing out in 50 minutes so they can mix and master it in 4 to 5 minutes and I can leave here with the song. So I don't have time for a bunch of takes.
Yeah.
I have to be rehearsing every single day before I get to the studio.
And you left with that song on the CD?
I left with that song on the CD.
Where's that song now?
Bro, listen, if anybody
Yeah.
from QC has a copy of my mixtape that I walked every hallway in QC and Seoul called Intellectual Warfare, please message
Intellectual
me.
Warfare.
Yes, please message me. Please
Yeah.
reach out to me somehow. I would, because I put it on. I made a mixtape that
Okay. Yep.
called Intellectual Warfare. I went to.
How many songs on that mistake?
It was 15.
15. That's a lot of songs.
Because I was just rapping all the
Yeah,
time. I had
yeah,
a bunch
yeah.
of ideas, right?
Okay.
And I went to Mr. Roy B. Pat and I said, I have this mixtape, but I do not have the money to like make copies of it.
Hold on, Roy Beeper, that's Johnny's dad?
No, this is his uncle.
His uncle?
But-
yeah.
but
His
this
uncle
is-
from Giftland.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but this
yeah,
is
yeah.
of course way before like anything with knowing Johnny or anything.
You didn't know
like
Johnny
that.
and Christopher
Yo,
then?
my only knowledge of them was Johnny's a promoter back then.
Back then,
right?
true,
Because
yeah.
Johnny used to have the hottest shows
Yeah,
back then,
yeah,
right?
he did,
so
he did.
that was my only knowledge of him then. So I didn't even like know the whole like connection,
The
or
whole
whatever,
dynamic, yeah.
right? To even tap into it is like, yo, I got a link. So, and he said yes. He said I'll do 100 copies, and I took them 100 copies, and I sold for like 1,000.
1,000 a
CD.
copy?
Yeah, bro.
Nice. So you made a good couple dollars there then.
Yeah, 100,000 then.
Yeah, that's
bro,
a lot of money back then.
In my mind, like back then, I thought I could have probably like invested in property, like with 100,000. But
My man was rich.
no, bro, I bought a laptop
Yeah.
with that money. Like,
Oh,
I
good.
never-
Smart decision. Yeah,
Nah, I never forget. But 100,000. But that was my first experience
Okay.
of like serious like recording.
Serious recording. What about your first stage show? When did you get that opportunity to go and perform in front
Right.
of an audience? You remember?
Yeah. The first as an artist, that would have been probably like when I was like about 15 or 16 as well too.
Okay.
So 16, 17 maybe.
Was this a paid gig or no?
So what happened is
Okay.
that NAPS, I don't want to screw up what the meaning of the acronym is, National AIDS something, but basically the body under the Ministry of Health
Got you.
that deals with like awareness with like
HIV back then.
and AIDS and whatever. So they
Okay.
had a song competition,
Oh, like a jingle.
like a jingle / song competition.
Gotcha.
Again, every opportunity I'm looking for.
You would go for
Music.
it. Yeah.
So I think I got like, I didn't place first, second, or third, but there were like a batch of people that they wanted to like as like honorable mentions, and that they gave a stipend to.
Yeah.
And they wanted those people to perform. And
Okay.
so I think like that was like my first performance.
And
Like,
where
on
was it? You
stage.
remember?
This was Culture Center Tarmac.
Culture Center Tarmac. Was it like a lot of people there?
Nah.
Oh, it wasn't?
Nah.
What were the nerves like going up and performing in front of a live?
Very, very nervous.
Very nervous.
Very, very. And then my first like performance after that. I think the Heat Wave band were performing at Guy Expo.
Yeah, I remember the Heat Wave band.
Right? Yeah, they were performing at Guy Expo. And so they had I think they were performing like some rap pieces like All I Do Is Win and the type of thing.
Oh, yeah,
and so
yeah,
like
yeah.
they wanted like somebody to like fill in like the rap parts of it for like the band.
Okay.
And I performed at Guy Expo, like like around that time as well too.
Now, same thing, same question again. Were you nervous again?
No, I was very nervous for the one.
Did you forget any of your raps?
No, I didn't. I didn't forget any raps, but I
Okay.
was very nervous because I remember that that's the first time being around. Because of course, leading up to the gig, it was like rehearsals and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I just remember the feeling of being around like real musicians.
Yeah.
Like this is a bass player, this is a guitar, this is a keyboardist, this is Jockey Jock singing there. So like, yeah, you gotta get yourself in order. This
Correct.
is not just all fun anymore and just
Nah,
trying to
this-
get your talent out. This is serious business.
It's
now.
the big leagues right there.
Yeah.
When did you think you became recognizable to people?
Mm-hmm.
At what age or what year you think people's like, oh, this is Remar. He's a rapper. He's a
Right.
singer.
Right.
You remember that? You remember what time that was?
I think the packaging myself, and because I didn't make the transition to Remar, like the name Remar, until I would have met Jonathan in
Yeah.
2012.
Okay.
And bro, I was going by such. Yeah, I'm gonna get flamed for this by my friends.
Go ahead.
My moniker before then was Esquire the Truth.
Esquire the Truth.
Correct, right?
Yeah.
So when I met Johnny in 2012, he was like, listen, right now, I just want you sharpening your skills.
Yeah.
The raw talent is there. It is very obvious.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful like to him and for being in that position looking back now. I didn't understand it then, but now I understand like the method to what he was trying to explain or trying to guide me to get me to do. like the raw talent is there.
Yeah.
But I need you to learn how to harness it into like song making. I need you to learn how to harness this talent into like different situations. So
Yeah.
you're in the studio doing this, or you get this concept, or you have 6 months to make an album, or you have 6 hours to write a song. I need you to be sharp and I need you to be ready for these different situations.
Yeah.
So all I want you to do now is to just make music. And also just make music so that we can just have songs to pull from.
To pull and play whenever we
Right.
need to.
Yeah. And then
Did he by the way, did he make you change your name?
so it's Esquire the Truth.
Yeah.
And he's like,
It's too long.
and not only duh, but it was a 2000. So we met in 2012.
Yeah.
Started working in 2012. But then in 2014, it was the football World Cup.
Okay,
And it
football World
was Brazil was a hot team,
Yep.
as always.
Cup. Every World Cup.
Correct, every World Cup.
yeah.
And there was Neymar.
Ah,
And Neymar, he's like, yo.
I see it. I get it now.
He's
I
like,
get
yo,
it.
nobody really like knows or says all of Neymar's like full names.
Full name. They don't do it.
He just goes by the name Neymar.
Yeah,
And so we look around, there's also Drake.
yeah.
There's Wally. Right?
Yeah.
These people that are using their real parts of like their real names.
Yeah, that they put together.
Right.
Yeah.
So why not just do Remar?
Remar, yeah.
Right? And then I was like, anybody that knows me from Alberton and my close family, they were all already calling me that.
Okay, so it was
right?
easy.
Correct. But in school and in other like formal situations and whatnot,
Oh, Dominic.
it was Dominic.
Yeah, Dominic.
Correct, right? So my full name is Dominic Remar Weeks.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know how I feel like having like them two worlds meet, like,
Yeah.
my hometown homeboy and like my professional music life,
Yeah.
Remar, and then, but it is one of like the best decisions that I make, because even now I think, and I don't like having a separation between the art and the artist.
Yes.
My art is a reflection of my life. All of my art is autobiographical, and so it makes sense for it to go under my government
Your
middle
government
name,
name, yeah.
rather than a moniker, because none of this is an act.
It's an act.
right?
It's
So-
real.
Correct.
That's why Johnny played a pivotal part in that.
No,
you know what I mean?
he
saw the vision.
he did. He did.
Yeah, definitely.
He is a creative
Yeah.
through and through, right?
Yeah.
And I've learned so much from him, even with directing videos.
Yeah.
With everything that I do right now, because I have a business as well too, a creative consultancy business.
Nice.
That does videos and that sort of things for corporate clients. And he also played a huge role in imparting that knowledge on me on how to really like to take a video project,
Yeah.
or any project for that matter,
Yep.
from conception to the finishing
To the
line,
finished product.
right? Because seeing him do it, and then it's kind of like, well, I want picky brain. I want to know like how he's really like finesse and
Yeah.
finagle and do it. I never forget, we talked about this story, even though I remember one of my first clients that I had, and I was asking him his help to structure a script,
Okay.
and he charged me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Oh, he charged you.
he charged me.
So then you had to put that feedback onto the client.
So I was like, no, but I was like, bro, like, why would you charge me?
Yeah.
But this is my younger self. But looking back now,
Yeah.
you understand, and I understand that you place value on things that you have to pay for.
Yes.
When there's a cost attached to something, you value it.
So true,
And
man.
that was one of the best in looking back now, one of the best and probably smallest investments when you put things in the grand scheme of things.
Yes.
One of the best investments that I have ever made. So his impact on on this entire journey is something like I can't even really like quantify, to tell you the
Yeah,
truth.
man. Shout out to Johnny, man.
For sure.
He just had a baby a couple
Yes.
weeks ago, man.
Mhm.
Congrats on the baby, Johnny. Another question I have about the rap hip hop industry in Guyana. How hard is it to get the music out? Seeing that we're not known for rap hip hop, we're more known for like a little bit of soca, calypso, that type of music.
Right.
How hard was it to get the music out?
I would I would think I think it's my opinion that we don't really have like a musical identity, right? To be very honest with you, to be very frank,
That's true. We don't.
right? Like you could think, yeah, if you look at somebody from Trinidad, that yeah, this is soca land.
Yeah,
And you
that's
look at
so
somebody from Jamaica, this is reggae dancehall land.
true. Yep.
But if you look at somebody from Guyana, we don't really have a sound that defines us. And so it's really not even an insult, but it's a unique position that we're afforded that we can start to put anything out.
That is true. Yeah.
You know, right?
Yeah.
Because again, we don't have an umbrella. We're not boxed in or pigeonholed into one particular genre.
No, we're not.
Right? Yeah. So I had the luxury of just saying I'm a rapper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the response was,
No, it was good.
it was good.
It was good. People respected it. Because again, I wasn't like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
I spent years honing my craft and perfecting my skills. And so when I finally got to a stage, and when me and Johnny finally got to a stage when we say, okay, we're ready to put music out in a packaged way with a machine behind it, with money behind it, polished, investing into this thing.
Yeah.
By the time that it got to that stage, I already had years of, again, just like investing time, which is an asset, into like the music. So the success that we got and the respect that we got and the feedback that we got, for me, it was, I was appreciative of it,
Yeah.
but like in the most humble way possible. It wasn't like a surprise because I knew
You put the work
that I
in.
put in for like
Definitely
so many
did.
years. Yeah.
What was the biggest show you did in Guyana?
Biggest show
Yeah.
would have to be I opened up for Rick Ross in 2012.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that was huge.
That was a
'cause
big one.
Rick Ross was on fire then.
He was on fire then, indeed.
Opened up for Popcaan already. Did the Back to the Future show with a bunch of like reggae legends.
Okay.
Then just like a couple of years ago, would have done like the one Guyana concert. It's hard because like I don't have the official numbers, I guess.
Yeah,
of
the
like,
numbers of the
like
attendance.
how of like the attendance.
Yeah. But the Rick Ross show was a big show.
No, it was huge
Because he was on fire back then in 2012.
for
13.
sure.
Yeah, he was
and
big.
that was a huge deal for me.
Yeah.
And I think that when you're in the mode that like I gotta perform,
Yeah.
you don't really you don't see nobody in the crowd.
Yeah.
You just be locked into what you gotta do, and executing it to the best of your ability, and then being out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But obviously, you had a successful career thus far because you've had collaborations with some really big artists.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk about that. Some of the persons that you've worked with.
Yeah, and listen, very very grateful, and the way that things have panned out for me.
Yeah.
I know that it had to be the grace and the favor of God because
Definitely.
on the surface, like a lot of these collabs that I got, on the surface, and theoretically speaking, perhaps
Yeah.
would have belonged to like a bigger artist or an artist with more buzz,
Yeah.
right? Because I mean, if you talk about like writing collabs,
Talk about that. Talk
yeah,
about that.
because
Yeah.
the songwriter side is also like another side.
Yeah, it is.
That like I got to like tap into,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're talking like with songs with Chinese KT, 5 Year Foreign,
Yeah.
French Montano.
Yep.
Wrote with and for Kess. Why is this slipping me right now? Of course, with the song for the Golden Children Project, for the 50th anniversary with Tamika Marshall.
Okay.
Jackie Jacks, a bunch of like Afrobeats artists,
Yeah.
pop songs, rock songs.
Yeah.
Like honestly, there's no genre that like I would look at and say like I can't necessarily touch, right? And then like on the artist side, collab. Well, y'all hearing it here first with Nigy Boy. That's
Nigy
gonna-
Boy, yep.
That's gonna drop very very soon. Conscience, Tamika Marshall. So again, like I have been put in certain positions, and I know that the positions that I've been put in, it is because of my talent and what I'm
Yes.
able to do, but it's God opening doors for me.
Yeah.
even at times when I didn't know it, and when I didn't really could like verbalize and say this is God or recognize that this is God.
Yeah.
It was Him and His hands on my life, like all through.
Yeah, because having songs and collabs with people like Conscience,
Yeah,
that's a big one.
Yeah.
Tamika
Yeah,
Marshall,
yeah, yeah.
Was it Niger Boy?
Nigy Boy. Yeah,
Niger
Nigy Boy. Yeah,
He's
100%.
been, he's been a big.
Yeah.
He's been really popping for the last 2 years or so, 3
Yeah,
years.
and then like even like how things like with the collab with Chinese Kitty and French
Chinese
Montana
Kitty,
5
yeah.
Year Foreign came about. Like it's crazy. It's things.
Talk about how that came about.
So I was working with a producer that has Guyanese roots,
Okay,
Mitch
yep.
Muller, and he had a home studio in Harlem.
Yeah.
At the time, and I was in New York for a few months because I was just in full grind mode.
Yeah.
Right, I'll just be here in New York because I wanted to be in a position where if I have to go to LA or I have to go to Miami, which I was doing at the time, like for different writing sessions,
Yes.
I won't have to be flying from Guyana.
Yeah, it's harder
Right,
that way.
right. So like I use the hub of like New York. I don't have to like stay in an Airbnb or anything. I have family there.
Yeah.
And I could just be there and just start to move around.
Yep.
So going to Mitch in Harlem was always like the no-brainer sort of thing. Like if nothing was being done like out to state.
Yeah.
And yeah, we started. We was working on some ideas prior in the day,
Okay.
and Chinese Kitty came over later.
And she's Guyanese, by the way.
Yeah, she's Guyanese heritage.
She Guyanese heritage.
A funny story
Yeah.
is that 2017, I was in Florida with Johnny. We was going to go to another writing camp in LA
Okay.
at the time, but we stopped in Miami for a couple of days, and she was just toying around with the idea of doing music.
Of doing music,
at the time.
yeah.
And we went into the studios. DJ Khaled's with the best studios, and she was nervous and again trying to find her footing,
Yeah.
her identity as an artist and whatever. And that's not something that you could just like magically find or whatever. So it didn't really work out then.
Yeah.
And we went to LA, and when we came back, there was like a huge hurricane in
Florida back
in
then.
Florida.
Yeah.
So like a lot of things like around the studio area was like wrecked and whatever, and we never got to get back in to finish off the idea that we started before I went to LA.
Gotcha.
Fast forward to like 2.5 years later, and I saw her at Mitch home studio,
Okay.
and obviously like the rapport was there because there was like a history to kind of like fall back on and the
Yeah.
stories to share about like how like
Right,
kind of like
right.
the bloopers of like the last session that we had.
Yep.
And yeah, he started playing the beat and we started writing, and I lent some ideas to it, and she went along with it. Maybe like a month or something later, I'm looking at his stories and I'm seeing like French, like him playing the song in the studio,
Yeah.
and like French Montana's vocals are on it.
On the same
so-
song that you worked on.
Yeah, so I called him on FaceTime. I was like, "Yo, this real?" He's like, "Yeah, like it's real."
It's really happening.
And then, like a little while after, he was like, "Yo, 5 Year Foreign is like he just got on the song."
Yeah.
And then a little while after, he was like, he sent me the message with all songwriters love to get. What's your publishing info?
What's your publishing to get that check?
Yes, sir. So
Yeah.
I knew it was official, and things was set in stone then. So again, just how everything happened, it had to be God,
Yeah.
because a seed was planted 2 years prior
Yeah.
that I didn't know,
You didn't know about, yeah.
and a situation that I probably came home to Guyana at that time and felt like it was a failure, not knowing, because again, this is just how God
Yeah.
works. Like it's not for you to understand, to figure out how he's moving and working and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it was him at play even then.
How was that publishing check? Were you like surprised with the number, the amount?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Decent?
good
Good?
because it was, again, it's just the politics of like music and like
Everything.
how things like split up, like big
percentage.
artists and the percentages
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
But I just look back at it as a kind of like another infinity stone. you know, that I got another notch under my belt.
Yeah.
With that one.
Yeah, because you can always say in a conversation, yo, I have a song that I...
And it's factual.
And it's factual. You could go on YouTube and you could find a song that I did with Chinese Kitty, Phoebe O'Foreign. I wrote on that song, that record, which is a big accomplishment,
Of
you know what
course.
I mean? For a rapper, singer in Guyana, that's a big
Yeah,
accomplishment.
man. For anybody, yeah.
What was your next big moment in terms of writing credits?
How the whole thing with Kess as well happened.
Kess?
Right.
One of my favorite artists, by the way.
Yeah. So I was in Los Angeles for maybe like about 2 months.
Yeah.
I was working at the time with Ron from Creative Titans, who was also another person that you know, really had a hand like in the songwriting aspect with started like putting me like in positions and you know, directing me into certain sessions, because it's all about connections in
It's
the
all
songwriting
about connection.
world,
Networking
right?
is important.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I was leaving LA, and he said, you know, like there's gonna be a session with Kess, like when you get back to Florida.
Yep.
And yeah, I flew from LA to Houston to Miami, got to Miami, and got picked up from the airport, went straight to the studio, and I didn't change, did nothing.
Okay.
And it was Kess there, and the coolest, most humble person. And yeah, we got to work on 2 songs. They never came out.
They never came out, but he has them though.
Yeah, he does. Of course, I have them.
You have them too.
Yeah. And yeah, it was just that was another like surreal moment.
Yeah,
you know, like to be like like somebody like the magnitude of Kess,
Big.
like turning to you in a session and being like, "Yo, what do you think like we should say next year?"
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
This feels like an alternate. This feels like an alternate universe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh yeah. I like that you just said. Like,
Yeah.
it don't seem real.
It don't seem real at
Right?
all.
So that was another like amazing like moment for me.
But how does it feel when you work with a big artist? Okay, so you're in the studio, you guys are recording songs or bouncing around ideas. Then you get the song complete, it's finished, but it never comes out. Because I've heard Neo talk about this. He did records with some of the biggest artists, and the song never comes out, never came out. It's just there. They have the song, but they never put it
Right.
out. Like, how does that feel though? Because obviously you want the song to be out
Yeah.
to get the recognition and
Right.
everything.
But as a songwriter, you go in with the knowledge of that is just a possibility in this entire equation.
It exists, yeah.
Right? These artists deal with high volumes of music and content
Being sent to
Right.
them all the time.
being sent to them, being worked on.
Yeah.
And they're humans. And so today I could be feeling this hoodie, and next week I don't want to wear such a bright color.
Yeah.
I want dark color.
Gotcha.
Right? And this is how it is be with music. So today they love this song. I love this. This is my next single. I got the idea for the video in my head.
Yeah.
And then next 2 weeks, I don't know if that's like consistent with like where I'm going with this album anymore. Right? And so if you being in enough sessions as a songwriter and as a creative, you live with that understanding.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
hope for the best, but you live with the understanding that is a very real possibility.
Yeah.
And so you can't really get married to the idea. Even when somebody says, I've worked also too with Pleasure P from
Hey, Pleasure P from the group.
yeah. Pretty Ricky.
Pretty Ricky, yeah.
Right? I remember we wrote this song, and every single session,
Yeah.
right? He would play this song to everybody that came into the studio.
Okay.
That we wrote. And at the last minute, he changed his mind and he put out the next song as like his first single. I don't even think he even probably put that song out.
Yeah. Do you have it?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And even that too from that time, Bobby Lights, who was like from Love and Hip Hop, Miami, like we worked on stuff. Like again, like now that I'm thinking, it's like these different names or whatnot that you get to like rub shoulders with,
Yeah.
like in the studio with her or whatnot, you know. So yeah.
Who's some of the persons that you would love to do a collab with?
Right now, mm, if Kanye could somehow get back to sanity, it would be that would be top of the list
Yeah.
because that sentimental value of it, a Rihanna and Drake
Yeah, Rihanna, Drake,
and
big names. Yeah,
Celine Dion.
Celine Dion, super big name.
Celine Dion.
I think Rihanna will be I think Rihanna more will be the biggest
And
one.
for writing Party Next Door.
Yeah, Party Next Door. Yeah, he's big too. Right, Rihanna has Guyanese heritage. Her mom is Guyanese, so that would be good.
Yeah.
I can see you and St. John working too. He's also Guyanese.
Yeah.
That would be a big one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so let's talk about some of your favorite rappers. Name some of your top 5 rappers that you like. It could be all.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be current.
My top 5
all time.
and I know it because I've said it so many times and I've had so many debates and arguments about it.
About your top 5?
Right?
Yeah,
About my top 5. In this exact order,
Go ahead.
it is Jay-Z, it's Biggie,
Yep.
it's
Eminem. Yep.
Nas, and DMX.
Yep.
I do not
DMX.
have Tupac in my top 5.
That's perfectly fine. I have Kanye in my top 5 though.
But I said the whole top 5, Tupac not being my top 5
Yeah.
to a bunch of guys in LA one time. So
And
you
they
can
didn't like that at
No,
all.
of course. I was on
Nah.
the West Coast.
on the West Coast. You can't say that to them guys.
That is Lord and Savior
Yeah, Tupac
for
is big.
them
Yeah.
on the West Coast. That did not go down well. Nope, no sir.
And you have performed in the US, correct?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
I
how
have
many
performed
times
in- 4 times.
And how
Yeah.
was that experience?
Nerve wracking.
Really, yeah?
Yeah, it was nerve wracking. Yeah, twice in Miami, once in LA, once in New York. Yeah, nerve wracking.
Nerve-wracking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a little club shows and whatnot, but still nerve wracking.
How many songs do you have out that you normally perform or you can perform?
My set list, I usually try to keep like a nice, solid, compact set list of like 5.
5 good songs.
Yeah, the occasion and the settings and whatnot
Yeah.
would dictate kind of like what I perform, but like 4 to 5 like solid ones.
Okay. Have any promoters been in contact with you or your people to perform for like this year in Guyana or?
Well, you see, the thing is, because over the last couple of years, I've really switched gears with
Performance?
like not only performance, but like with the music as well too.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a very, very fortunate position by the grace of God where I wear multiple hats. And so
Yeah.
I'm not just an artist,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm also a video director. So
Yep.
not because like I'm not putting music out. Like I just did a video for Nigy Boy
For Nigy
last
Boy, yeah.
year. Did another video for another reggae artist from Jamaica based in Florida
Okay.
last year as well too. So I'm working still on different things. It may not be music.
Yeah, I got
but
you.
I'm still working and I'm still channeling like my creativity
Yeah.
into certain parts. Now I have to be reasonable and understand the promoters won't come looking for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't have like music out and anything hot out right now.
But you do have that song coming out with Nigy Boy.
Nigy Boy, right?
Nigy Boy,
yeah,
Nigy
yeah,
Boy,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Nigy Boy's
So,
his name.
but I never really like move with like a sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
Like they're supposed to become like rapping at my doors or whatnot. So I haven't really performed on stage in a while.
Yeah, okay.
But with good reason, and I understand like what the reason is.
Okay. So you have the song coming out with Nigy Boy that you did the video for and says dropping pretty soon.
Yes.
Is there any other projects that you're working on currently?
Yes, I am. I'm working on another collection of songs. and
Okay.
I think that I don't want to give too much away about the direction of it, but I think like the direction of it will be surprising to some that are not in my inner circle and don't probably like keep in contact with me and know like my life and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably the most meaningful music that I've ever made in my entire life. Like,
Oh, nice.
Like coming out next.
Okay. Nice. How is it working with Nigy Boy, by the way? Because I know he's visually impaired. He really can't see.
Yeah, but talented.
Yeah.
Talented. Shout out to Ridwan. Ridwan is a producer from Guyana.
Okay.
Who has produced. Yo, he probably won't mind me saying this. I won't say, but I just tell you, I saw a glance of like Ridwan's like total streams
Yeah.
on Spotify one time. Is insane.
And he's right here in Guyana?
He's right here in Guyana.
I wonder.
But
yeah.
he's such a humble person.
Yeah.
And he reinforced the point to me that not because you're not making a lot of noise means that you're not doing like a lot of things.
Yeah, that's so
You
true.
know, you could be
Yeah.
very, very active, but sometimes you just like kind of like fly below the radar.
Yeah, you got to get him to come in the showroom. We can talk about all
No,
that
no,
stuff.
for sure. If he does, because he sometimes like hardly talks. But
okay. Yeah.
but he's the one that put the entire thing together.
Okay.
He called me on a Thursday. This is when Nigy came to perform at the Burna Boy concert last
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I got you.
year. Right? So he called me on the Thursday and he's like, yo, these men got a song that they want to do a video to. The thing is, they're leaving Sunday. And I got a party on Saturday. So basically, I got a day to put this entire shoot
Oh, and
together.
he called you on Thursday.
Thursday night.
Thursday night. So you got like the Friday.
Very specific, yeah.
Yeah.
To pull all the logistics together,
Yeah.
to come up with a script and an idea and a concept and everything. But I like a challenge.
Yeah. That's a good.
I'm trying to be broken free from the shackles of procrastination, but at that time, and even still sometimes now, I like working under the pressure of like last minute.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, so I put everything together in like a day, shot the video on Saturday. It's like it's crazy to think about this exactly a year ago from like right now.
Okay.
Shot everything in like a day, and working with that and building a relationship led to us collaborating on music as well too, right? And again, I can't.
What's the name of the song?
Karma.
Karma. That's the one you shot in
Karma
one day.
is the one that is shot and edited and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably like about close to like 800,000 like views on YouTube right now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. The one that you're releasing pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's called Good Intentions.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Correct. So Good Intentions coming up very soon.
Good Intentions coming
Yeah,
out
yeah,
soon.
yeah.
You and Nigy boy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah. And you looking forward to that drop?
Yeah, man. It's always exciting when it's time to put out new music. I feel like you work on it, you put in so much time and energy and effort and resources into it, and then it's finally time to give it to the world.
Yeah.
And be like, hey world, critique my art.
And where was that video shot?
It was shot partially in Guyana
Yeah.
and part of it in New York.
Okay, so Guyana, New York. You and Nigy boy. Called
Yeah.
Good Intentions.
Yes.
That's gonna be dropping very soon.
Very soon.
So Remar, I want to say thank you for coming in the showroom, man. I enjoyed this
pleasure, bro.
conversation,
A
man.
pleasure.
Is there anything else you want to let the fans of Remar know? I know you have the upcoming music
Yeah.
dropping soon. Anything else?
that I'm gonna be a lot more consistent.
Yeah.
Going forward. I'm also a huge lover of fragrance.
Yeah,
Perfumes.
we're both into fragrances.
Yeah, we actually.
So let's talk about that. Funny, so that's actually how we connected through the love of fragrances.
Yeah.
We started talking about that on social media.
You was doing a wild like scent of the day for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
and it wasn't no repeats.
Wasn't no
And
repeats.
then I had to start letting you know that
Yeah.
I got some heat too.
You got some
but I
heat.
want to start doing certain things like again, I'm working on it too.
Yeah,
the lines
yeah.
of like fragrance and whatnot too. But
Yeah.
for sure.
I have a deep love for fragrances, man.
No,
Since I was young. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
me
love
too.
it. Love
Me too.
fragrances, man.
My mom started it off.
Yeah.
Right. She bought me this Burberry one when I was in high school.
Okay.
Remember, it had like the Burberry cloth.
Yeah, you got Burberry Touch, and then you have the
yeah.
regular Burberry London.
Yeah, and that one just like sets it off. Like
Yeah.
for me, like loving, smelling good.
So it started for me when I was like in primary school. I had an older brother who was a pastor, and his favorite scents that he would wear were all from Ralph Lauren. He had like the
Yeah.
polo blue, polo green. So I remember being like 7, 8, 9, going to his bedroom and just using his colognes back then.
Yeah.
So I've always had a love for
Yeah.
fragrances since then to now.
Yeah, my mother had also Tommy Girl. It's female.
yeah.
But it smells so good. I didn't care. I
Yeah.
put it on me. She had Pleasures by Estee Lauder as well.
Estee
too.
Lauder Pleasures. Yeah, that's a
I
popular
didn't care.
one.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
spritzing.
we share a love for fragrances, man. I
Yeah.
love the fragrance community. I can't say it enough, but I appreciate you taking the time out to be in the
Of
showroom,
course.
man.
Of
It was a
course.
pleasure having you,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
All right,
for
cut.
sure.